Minister, the Ireland of today may seem to be a million miles away from the Ireland the survivors of these institutions remember. The Ireland where, as children, their daily lives consisted of abuse, neglect and distress, shunned by society and failed by the state. That Ireland isn't gone, however, until the survivors get the recognition and the redress they deserve. These people went into these institutions as children, are now adults, having survived despite the state's failures, standing firm in the face of successive governments, stubborn to refusal to acknowledge their fight for justice. Minister, the average age of the survivors of residential institutional abuse now stands at 69. Yet incredibly, for survivors who spent years working for nothing. Now let that sink in, years working for nothing. In residential institutions, getting access to a contributory state pension is still an uphill struggle. That has to change. Even something as basic as access to their own personal information isn't guaranteed. I had a lovely lady call to my office the other day. I know this lady quite well, asking could I help find out how long she was in such institution, as she couldn't access her own information and she couldn't remember. This lady is old and is ill and shouldn't have to beg for what is hers by right, Minister. And as a Sinn Féin spokesperson for older people, I find this extremely unacceptable. We are becoming an older nation and we have a lot of older people who deserve to be respected. Survivors deserve more. They need real support and not half-baked solutions. In short, this bill, Minister, needs to include all of the key recommendations of the Joint Committee pre-legislative report last December, including equal access to all support for all survivors, making survivors living abroad eligible for payment. €3,000, by the way, is not enough. Provision for a state contributory pension in recognition of the years spent working for nothing in those institutions to allow them to live out their lives with dignity. These people have already been failed by this state and previous governments for decades, Minister. I'm asking you not to fail them again, to include them in all the recommendations in this bill, to implement them and to recognise the residential institutional abuse survivors once and for all. Gormila Magat.
Thank you, Deputy Ryan. Deputy Sean Canny.